dancehall wasn't as big in the late 90s in America as it became during the middle part of, the first half of the 21st century. Like you couldn't, you had Caribbean rhythms. I mean, shoot, you watch Rachel every Saturday at 12 o'clock. Was it 12 o'clock or was it 1 o'clock? I can't remember. I know Caribbean rhythms and I remember Rachel. We all remember Caribbean rhythms and we all remember Rachel. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to day number 27. Yep, 90% of the way done. We're almost at the end of the Black Music Month 30 series here on the Groove Line. I'm your host, Chris Stevens. It is Saturday. We're going to party a little bit and we're going to take it to Jamaica as we go party. And we're going to talk about a rhythm put together by this gentleman, Tony C.D. Kelly. And we can only be talking about the Bookshelf Riddim. Now, mind you, I can't say it the way Jamaicans can because I'm just a regular old American black. So if you're looking for the correct pronunciation, man, can't help you. Sorry. I just, my voice is just too. I don't even know if I have an accent. People say I have an accent. I don't think I do, but anybody listening, you can let me know what you think. But no, I don't have a Jamaican accent, so I can't say rhythm the way they say rhythm. I can't do it. But anyway, Bookshelf came out in the summer of 1998. I know it was somewhere between the end of my junior year of high school and the beginning of my senior year of high school. I didn't really get into it until the summer of 99 because I was working a day job at a rec center. And I was the gopher boy at 17 years old, making copies and different things and sitting in a room somewhere, putting together packets and different things. And, I used to listen to the radio. And the executive director would lean in there and say, "Hey, we're not paying you to listen to the radio or read the newspaper." Which is funny because I've spent, 20 years of my life making money in newspapers and writing. And now I'm talking to y'all 3 times a week about music. Sometimes you got to, prepare for the job ahead of time. But yeah, so the Bookshelf was the rhythm was the first one I remember really kind of hearing on mix shows like on Power 99 and WKYS, Kiss 1017 in Wilmington. Yes, Wilmington, Delaware had an R&B radio station at one point in time. So the Bookshelf rhythm is still one of my very favorites. I did Diwali last year, so I had to do Bookshelf this year to come bring it full circle. And I'm going to give you guys 7. That's right, 7 Bookshelf joints that I think you should know. So without further ado or delay is what I'm trying to say. Let's get started. Gonna start it up with Jack It Up by Mr. Vegas. And that's the first one I remember hearing. Jack it up like you don't care. And that's all I know. But I just remember hearing that beat for the first time. And hearing this dude saying Jack It Up, even though I'm pretty sure it's similar to what house heads in Chicago call jacking when it comes to dancing or whatever. But yeah, Jack It Up is one of the first ones that I think of when I think of Bookshelf, because I think that's the first one I heard in the summer of 99 when I was, listening to the radio and stapling packets and making copies and, writing out a bunch of stuff. So, that's just one of those things that just kind of sticks with you when you are working at a job at 17 years old that you don't necessarily like, but well, you're 17 years old, you're just out of high school and you need the money. So that's one that, that song reminds me of the summer of 99 so very much. And of course, we got to go to the title one, Bookshelf by Beanie Man. Now, Beanie Man was already on a roll because remember, Girls Dem Sugar came out in 98, and that took over radio everywhere. That video was on BET's top 10 list on Planet Groove for God knows how long. I know it was on there for MTV Jams for God knows how long. So Beanie Man was a made man by this point, And then, of course, the Bookshelf Rhythm comes out and he hops on it and he makes it a smash. And then, of course, the next summer, he has Girls Dem Sugar with Maya and the Neptunes. So Beanie Man was off into the stratosphere by this point. But yeah, in between Girls Dem Sugar and in between Who Am I and Girls Dem Sugar, there is Bookshelf. Now, this is the one I think everybody knows. I would like to get to know you, baby. Like to get a piece of that sexy body. Yeah, that sexy body by Sasha, dancehall queen. And there's a remix with Ivy Queen, which is actually even better because it extends the song out to about 5 minutes. But even the 3-minute version with Sasha is good enough. because I mean, she talks about, I would like to turn you on from the night straight up till dawn, on and on and on. See you walking down the street. You're the kind of man I want to meet in my bed and in between my sheets. And when you're 17, 18 years old and you wish women were singing that type of stuff to you, it's like, hey, hey. But yeah, yeah, that sexy body. I think that's the one that everybody knows because you can hear women, black women of millennial and Gen X, even some Gen Zers. You can probably hear them all singing this song at some point during the party when the DJ puts that version of Bookshelf on. And of course, we got to talk about Sean Paul's version, which is really sort of pimpish in a way. It's called Deport Them. And he's talking about you got to be fine or you got to get the hell about my section or even out of my country. He's talking about, if the girls aren't fine, we deport them. But if they do look good, we support them. I guess that's fair, but when you think about it, he's like saying, "Damn, I mean, deport them" just sounds kind of rough. But then when you remember, language is different in different places. I don't think Sean literally means get the hell out the country. He just means get be far away from me if I don't find you attractive. But if I find you attractive, you got my support, whatever that entails. So yeah, that version of Bookshelf is one of the ones I think of the most because that was before Sean Paul came on the scene really heavy with "Give Me the Light" in the spring of 2001. Can't believe that's been 25 years. Lord have mercy. Where does the time go? Next up is "Watching You" by Wayne Wonder. Now, Wayne Wonder, once again, he was another one that found a American audience with the Diwali version of his version of Diwali, "No Letting Go," and he's been in the dance hall game for a minute. So, to the real dance hall heads, this is nothing new. But hearing Wayne's version of the Bookshelf, "Watching You," you kind of get that he's always been sort of like a romantic dance hall crooner because he's talking about, he's been watching this girl from across the room. This place is crowded, yet we're all alone. I'm feeling your energy through the lover zone. It's just like it's sensual, but it's still very much hyped up. It's hyped up sensuality. And Wayne delivers that very convincingly on "Watching You." Then of course we got Tanya Stevens' version, "From You Hot," and she's talking about, you looking fresh in all the latest designs. It's pretty much, saying, put your best on and go out and party. And Tanya Stevens is one of those dance hall queens that Jamaicans and West Indians revere, for really good reason because she's also very active in HIV and AIDS awareness. So she's one of the ones that pushes back on homophobia and different things of that nature because I think as unfair as that reputation is, Caribbean folks have a wild reputation for being wild homophobic. I don't know that for a fact. I just know that that's what people say. So, but Tanya Stevens is one who pushes back on that because she's done a lot of work with HIV and AIDS prevention and awareness. And, she's a dope one. But yeah, but, "From You Hot," if you want to feel good getting dressed up, going out to party, whatever that entails for you, this is the Bookshelf one that you should really, tap into. And last but not least is "Rescue Me" by Pancho Cristal. This is a dude who is literally saying, "Be my beautiful wife." He's talking about, rescue me from singleness, rescue me from loneliness, rescue me from not getting any. That's pretty much what this song is about, his version of Bookshelf. And I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, if you really want to just fall in love with somebody on the dance floor, I mean, because who hasn't, gotten close to someone on the dance floor and felt like maybe this could go past tonight? Maybe this could be something that lasts, forever and a day, or at least past tonight again. But it usually doesn't work out like that. And if it does, it's usually a shock to both parties. It's like, wow, we really were intoxicated by the moment. Those are the 7 Bookshelf joints that I think you should check out. I mean, there are more. I didn't even pick my favorite version, which is "Over and Over Again" by a girl named Yvette. So, but yeah, I mean, those are the 7 that I think that you should, really tap into, and just to get a good idea of just how massive the Bookshelf Riddim was at the end of the 20th century. And again, for somebody 17 years old, really just starting to find out that there's life outside of DMX, because I was a DMX stan from the time I was 16 years old and still am, even long after his passing. But then, you get into R&B, you get into soul, you get into dance hall, because dance hall wasn't as big in the late 90s in America as it became during the middle part of, the first half of the 21st century. Like, you couldn't. I mean, you had Caribbean rhythms. I mean, shoot, you watch Rachel every Saturday at 12 o'clock. Was it 12 o'clock or was it 1 o'clock? I can't remember. I know Caribbean rhythms and I remember Rachel. We all remember Caribbean rhythms and we all remember Rachel. That's for doggone sure. But yes, Bookshelf Riddim by Tony C.D. Kelly, one of the hot ones of that era. If you have not heard any of these songs, go check them out. If you have, let me know what you think. And if you want to substitute, if you want to say, "Oh, Chris, man, you need to put that one down and bring this one up," let's talk about it in the comments. That's what they're there for. And that's going to do it for day 27 of the Black Music Month 30 series here on the Groove Line. Greatly appreciate you wonderful people for tuning in. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, we will have our usual episode about an artist or a spotlight. And then Sunday night, June 28th, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time, we are going live for the first time. Yes, we are going to have a BET Awards watch party. So you can find it here on YouTube. You can find it on our Facebook page. Come through, come kick it with us. And remember, I cannot live stream the actual show because I will get copyright strikes. So we're just going to watch along. If you don't have BET, sorry. If you do, turn on BET and let's chat it up in the chat. That's what we're going to do. So once again, thank you guys for riding with us on the Groove Line. 27 days down, 3 left. Let's have some fun. And until the next time we ride, may you find the groove or may the groove find you.